拍實說大地海外升學。
大家好，咁我哋咧今日就請咗校長 Mr. William 啦，同我哋講一講咧喺 Earlscliffe 呢一度咧各方面嘅地方嘅。
你好，我係威廉士先生。
So can I know more about the school, the brief picture of the Earlscliffe?
Certainly, yeah. So rather like Hong Kong, Folkestone is a coastal town.
Yeah.
And that's where it ends. So it's a very small seaside town, about an hour from London, and Earlscliffe is a school there. We have at the moment 140 students, aged between 15 and 19, and our children typically come to us for 1, 2 or 3 years, and then go off to a selective university, usually in the UK, but also around the world. Some of them from Hong Kong go back to Hong Kong to go to university. But the idea is that their English becomes fluent, which it does because it's an English-speaking environment. And they learn about the British system, sometimes moving from Hong Kong qualifications to GCSEs and A-levels. And we also help them with their university application. So it's a sort of step from home off to university in a very safe, quiet seaside town where the students are very happy.
Can you tell me any uniqueness of the Earlscliffe College?
I would say there's a few things. Very small school.
Yep.
So most boarding schools in the United Kingdom, 400, 600, 900, 1,000, something like that. We're very small in those terms, only 140. What that means, it's a real village. It's a family community.
Yeah.
And the children don't get lost as they might do in a bigger school. So I would say that was one facet of it. Secondly, we have very small class sizes. So the average class size is 7 students. In a classroom like that, nobody gets left behind, nobody gets missed. I would say for Hong Kong students, the challenge is and the change is we expect them to participate more. We want them to ask questions. We want them to challenge themselves, pair work, group work, all of that kind of thing, which I think initially they find challenging, but over time they get to use, because if they're going to university in the UK, they'll need to do that. And if they're going to work in a global environment, they'll need to ask questions and challenge and be thoughtful and proactive in those ways. We also test every student every week in every subject. It's not about testing. I don't teach, but if I'm a teacher and we use the Earlscliffe system, then I deliver my lessons for the week. And on Thursday we do a test, and on Friday the students get their results. If everybody understands, and everyone has done well in the test, fantastic. On Monday we move on to the next topic. If none of the students understand, and none of the students do well in the test, that means I, the teacher, I've got to rethink. I can't just carry on. I've got to rethink and say, okay, well, they didn't understand that. It didn't get through to them. Let me find a different way of teaching it. And then they'll understand it. Then we'll retest and then we'll move on. Or if half the students understand it, well done, pat on the back. If half the students don't understand it, 1-to-1 or 2-to-1, small group coaching.
I see.
Let me tell you what you got wrong. Let me help you, and then on we go. So it's really a lot of coaching and a lot of individual attention to the students, and I think those things are quite unique about Earlscliffe. We're not highly selective, so a lot of schools get fantastic results by putting in a very tough entrance exam, and then you only get the very top students. This is the Band 1 schools in Hong Kong. I think education comes, it comes from the Latin educere, education, to lead out of what somebody has, find their potential and lead it out of them. So a lot of our students go on to university to study something related to business, and we're very strong in business studies and economics. A lot go on to do art, and we're very good at photography and fine arts and history of art. But we also do the traditional maths, physics, chemistry, biology, history, geography, all of those traditional subjects, and a few that you might not expect. So, for example, politics and psychology, very popular now. We help the student find their own pathway. Often we find that the students are happier and more successful if we help them find their own path of the right subject for them and the right university. And the right university is not always a big name university that you've heard of. Medicine, for example. Go to Leicester University, you meet a patient on day 1, and you work with a family every Wednesday afternoon where one of the family members has a chronic illness and you see the impact of that long-term illness on the individual and the whole family. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's about expert advice to the students on what's the right course for you, what's the right university for you, how do we get you into that university.
Yeah. About the school's bigger initiatives, can you name me something about the initiatives, good progress from the school recently?
Yeah. Okay. Well, these are two slightly unusual ones. Do you know what an escape room is?
Yeah.
Okay. So you've heard obviously in escape rooms. So we have an escape room as a school. It's in partnership with a local company. And what an escape room is, it's problem solving. And problem solving is a really useful life skill. And it's, if you're an engineer, my son just finished his degree in engineering. If you're an engineer, your job is problem solving. So we have students who want to go and study maths or physics or engineering at university, and we give them the escape room. Two ways they use it. In the first way, put them in a team, put them in the escape room, get out. Okay. The second thing is, how would you redesign this escape room? How would you change the problems? How would you change the puzzles? How would you change the room in order to make it more challenging, more manageable, more effective, more enjoyable? We give them a real life scenario. So I would say that's an initiative that we've done that's a little bit different. So when they're applying to university, they can say, I designed an escape room and it's working and we're charging people money for it.
Talking about the nationality, how's the mix in here?
We have 30 different nationalities at the moment. We encourage all the students to speak English in public areas. So corridors, dining rooms, obviously in the classroom they have to speak English all the time. But in the corridor, if they're waiting to go into lunch, they shouldn't be speaking Cantonese or German or something like that, because even if the other students aren't involved in the conversation, they don't want to feel excluded by that. And the students who really do this, really try, I'm going to speak English all the time, they do really well.
So how do you support them besides the language side? I mean, somehow they're homesick.
Yeah.
Or any support without the parents? How do you support them?
Yeah. No. Well, that's a good point. The thing I say to them about homesickness is that everybody feels homesick. It's not we think of children being homesick. It's actually a universal human constant. If you do feel homesick, get busy. Do something. Don't phone mum and dad. Because if you phone mum and dad, you'll hear their voices and that'll make you feel more homesick. Phone them later. So the moment you feel homesick, do something else. Get yourself out of this mood. Realize where you are, and then later phone home when you're feeling a bit more positive. And I think also sometimes with the homesickness thing and the language, we occasionally use one student to help another. So if we have, we very rarely have just one student from Turkey. We might have 5 or 6. And sometimes if they're struggling and feeling a bit homesick, then they can help each other with that. Or sometimes if they're struggling to express something and explain exactly what's going on, then maybe an older student who's also Turkish can help.
Yeah.
You know, I wouldn't say it's like being at a day school where you can just, catch the teacher at the front gate and that kind of thing. It's not like that. But we do work hard on communication, both external and internal, so that nobody gets left behind. Because around your child, you have an academic group tutor who sees the child every morning and afternoon. You have a house manager who looks after them in the evening. You have a head of year who looks after all the year 12s, let's say. You have the pastoral deputy head, the academic deputy head, you have me, we have a nurse, we have all of these people around the child, so that, and we all make sure that we do whatever we can to communicate with each other. But if the nurse knows something and says, I think he's perhaps a bit upset because he's not doing well academically, then we make sure the nurse talks to the academic person, and if it's a friendship issue, talk to the house manager, and so we make sure we share information and communicate plenty.
Right. So last question would be about any advice that you're going to give those parents or students that they're considering to study further later on in Earlscliffe or go abroad to study in UK. So any advice will you give to them?
I think it's really important to find not just a good school, but the right school for your child, your family. So if you can find an agent who knows the schools in the United Kingdom and then tell the agent about your child. Are they confident and outgoing? Do they make friends really easily and happy in a big, wide environment? Then you'll choose one kind of school. If your child is a little bit more reticent, a little bit more anxious, maybe not confident in a crowd, then maybe you'll choose a smaller school. If sport's really important, then find a school with lots of sports facilities. But if that's less important, what is important? What are your child's hobbies? And is your child going to be able to continue their table tennis or their badminton or their basketball or whatever it might be in that school? You may not be able to visit the school yourself, which would be a real shame, I think, because one of the things you can get from a school visit is a feel of the place and a sort of sense of what it's like and what the mood and atmosphere is like. So if you can't visit, it's important that you find an agent who has visited the school, who can visit the school and say, okay, well, I know 10 schools, I know 20 schools, I know 50 schools in the UK. Let me tell you about the atmosphere in those schools and the mood of the place and whether they're friendly and welcoming. And that, I think, is a really key part of it. And so I think a lot of those human qualities, it's really important to pick up on that. A lot of conversation between the family about the child and either an agent or the school directly, so that you find not just a good school, because there's hundreds of good schools out there, but the right school for your child is what I would say.
Thank you very much.
It's a pleasure. It's a pleasure.
I'm sorry. Thank you so much. Yeah.
大家好，咁我哋今日咧好高興邀請到三位同學咧同我哋做個訪問嘅，咁分別我哋隔離三位啦，不如介紹下自己先啦。Introduce yourself.
Okay. 早晨，我係志樂。
Hi, my name is Caleb.
Hi, I'm Helen.
So, what are the program that you're studying, and which grade are you right now?
Okay, so I'm studying A-level now. I'm year 13.
I'm studying A-level year 13, and I'm studying biology, chemistry, and maths.
I'm also doing year 13 until the second year of A-level. I'm doing maths, further maths, biology, and chemistry.
So, what makes you to study in the UK in Earlscliffe here? So, anyone?
其實呢個係嚟自大陸，不過係唔太中意咁嘅體制，所以係嚟英國係接受唔一樣嘅體制。
我由中一開始嚟嘅，咁但係我中一到小學嘅成績咧就唔係太好，即係總之我覺得香港啲科目好難，咁過嚟英國之後就覺得會簡單好多。
So like my school, my hometown, it was very stressful, so I want to change to kind of more chill, more relaxed environment, so I came here.
Okay, so it's something about the pressure, the style of learning here. So right now you've been here studying for a while. So do you enjoy the study life here? Yeah.
Yes, we do.
其實生活幾好，冇咁多屋企人束縛咯，佢哋即係壓力少咗，咁自然就即係放啲嚟做啦。
OK，咁你點樣會即係形容呢度嗰個 teaching style? How would you describe the learning style here?
Well, the class is very small. It's like between Hong Kong and UK. Hong Kong has like maybe 30 students, and in the UK they only got like 10 or 15 students at most. So like you can like ask more questions if you want to. So you're doing this not all this.
The teacher here is really willing to help the students with problems. They giving up their free time for coaching for us, so it's really helpful for people who like doesn't really understand a specific topic. So I think the teaching style here is like mainly like helpful and just more helpful.
How's your study in Earlscliffe influence your personal growth and the development? Do you think you feel any growth of yourself?
所以英國之前喺大陸讀書嘅，嗰邊嘅體制就係一種點講咧英式教育咁咯，即係話係啲老師係好似一個獨裁者咁管理晒你所有嘢啦。呢邊咧就係俾我哋4點半之後放學嘅，你會有更多時間去做 gym 啊，又可以打波啊，可以或者你中意嘅話自己係打機都得。不過你就可以 有咁多嘅自立嘅時間，我自己安排自己study time。如果俾翻喺大學嘅話，呢度係輕鬆好多，不過咧你要give more pressure to yourself。
即係自己就要俾多啲即係控制自己啦，係咪？要監管自己啦，要自律少少啦。OK， 好好啊呢。
So in here, I think my personal growth is like I know how to manage my time in my own study time, because in my old school, like in the UK, we have the study time but with teachers all together in the evening. So teachers is like kind of supervising you, but in here we do study time in our own room, so we have to like manage our time carefully, like what to do and when. So I think that's my growth.
That's very important, I think, is you have to be independent and prepare for the next stage. Yeah. And so about the education system in UK, apart from how you mentioned about this difference between China and UK, do you find any other differences between the education system in UK and in Hong Kong or China?
香港嘅教學方式就係一次過學晒啲嘢啦。咁即係就譬如如果香港有人一堂冇問題咧，咁老師一定答。咁但係冇問題咧，佢繼續去咯。咁但係咧英國啲老師咧就講下會停嘅，即係叫你哋做下練習先，之後再 move on 咁樣，
即係俾你鞏固多少少先。
係啊，明啲嘅。咁即係譬如有啲同學係怕醜嘅，唔敢問問題嘅，咁啲老師咪唔知咯。咁但係如果啲老師可以就係停喺度，跟住俾你哋做下練習先，咁你知道你哋有啲咩唔識。
會唔會即係冇咁 rush 嗰個要追嘅 syllabus 係咪？
係咯，仲慢啲啦，英國嘅話就香港就真係好鬼快。
I think for the UK education system, we focus on like specific topics. So for example, for a subject, we look really like deep into it. But compared to China, we do like many subjects, but not really that.
Very brief knowledge.
Yeah, brief knowledge. So I think the UK education makes us more focused on the content we need for the university if we know what we want to do in the university.
It seems like a more in-depth study
Yes.
on a particular area that you can get more focus. So about the support in here, what is the support and resources that you can acquire from the school as an international students?
呢間學校如果你有啲咩唔明嘅話咧，咁啲老師會喺課學後面，喺課學啦或者喺 break time 咧會同你有一個 one-to-one coaching 啦，即係補習咁樣啦，咁幾耐都得嘅，咁到你明為止咯。OK， 係咁又唔使咩 extra charge 嚟咁樣，即係免費嘅。
即係其實總之你需要，即係佢哋好 care 你個 progress 啦，需要你啲 support， 其實佢哋頭先聽落，其實佢哋都俾到好多 support 你，去點樣去幫助你咁樣。
即係補充下咧，即係話如果有一個學生佢係真係比較氣嗰種嘢咧，其實老師咧係只係會提醒你下。
OK， 唔會 push 你啊，開好緊要。
即係佢唔會太 push 你咯。OK，係首先話可能你有自己嘅學習方式。OK，即係如果你真係唔得嘅話，老師都幫唔到你，因為你呢間學校第一目標就係學識讀口。
係咪係一種好即係 personal 嘅一個 approach 喺呢度係咪 ？OK， 咁好好啊！即係你無論你想點樣嘅，咁老師又配合翻你嗰個即係能力啦，同埋你嘅興趣去啦。咁so課餘時間 do you have any enrichment activities that you have joined? Any leisure time? How you spend it?
呢度每個禮拜四我哋都會去，我同我同事樂啦都會去打羽毛球咁樣。咁之後打羽毛球，仲有 join 呢啲好多學生會啊、慈善啊，同埋做下 prefect 咁樣咯。係咁就即係多啲課餘時間做多啲嘢。除咗讀書，仲可以玩下。
你喺香港會唔會都參加咁多唔同活動嘅？
喺香港時間咁啊，基本上就係讀書咪個成績又唔係好啦，即係又俾屋企人逼住去補習咁樣，冇時間玩。
Every Wednesday we do SCS. It's kind of like activity for the week. So we have different clubs like film club, they do basketball. So I think that's really kind of help for kind of relax and take away from the study.
Cool, yeah. That's another side of your study, not only on the classroom. So last question. All of you have to tell us something about any advice, because the audience may be looking for their study in UK or any other country. So do you have any advice if they consider to study in Earlscliffe or to go abroad to study in UK? Any advice from you guys?
Don't have to be scared if your English is not good, because my English wasn't good when I first came to England. But like you can improve your English after like maybe studying a year or 2 years.
其實英語咧我一開始嚟英國就知道英語係數數啦，跟住係喺大學咧一般係專注喺你個點樣用英語考試，即係唔係點樣講英語咁咯。所以如果你人喺大陸嘅話，建議你一定要出國嘅咯。喺大陸你英語係好唔好咯？就算你係一個 one-to-one teacher 嘅話，因為你生活中用唔到，所以如果你想學好英語同埋你想更加進步，睇下呢個真實嘅世界，我建議你係一定要出國。
You don't have to be like scared, just be brave in here because in life people also need to make the step to the bigger world. So just do not be scared, be brave. Like in the school, just be brave to talk to the teacher, talk to your friends and talk to your classmate. And in house, just be brave.
Yeah. Perfect. That's different, but that's the way you improve yourself.
Yes.
For your growth. So thank you very much for your time and hope you enjoy your life here and have a brilliant future.
有海外升學問題，即刻 WhatsApp 大地啦！